Don't let me stray. Please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh Allah.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this evening's edition of Let's Talk. Please continue to support Let's Talk and Huda TV in general on our Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/Huda TV. Please like and share the page with your friends and family. It is an excellent tool of not only dawah, but of communicating with us as well. Send us a message and we can understand, your suggestions, your opinions, your thoughts, and your feedback. And you can suggest topics as well as presenters and scholars as well. So please continue to do so, as well as YouTube, which is www.youtube.com/Huda TV. And if you're in a country without a strong satellite signal, you can enjoy the online streaming there, or simply enjoy the uploaded videos that we have there for your educational benefit. Don't forget our Twitter account, as well as, of course, email, which is talk@huda.tv. Certainly hope you have enjoyed Let's Talk, this series, this season rather. And in this episode we have another wonderful topic, and we have some special guests as well. And what really makes this episode and this program special, I believe, is that we do have in every episode guests from different countries. In this episode we have a guest from Nigeria, a guest from Alexandria, Egypt, a guest from London, as well as a guest from Guinea-Conakry, and I am from the United States as well. So 5 people on the set with 5 different backgrounds. So we would like in this episode, we certainly hope it's beneficial, to speak about not only how to be a good Muslim, but what exactly does that mean, especially considering that we come from different backgrounds and cultures and countries. So how is it and how can we practice Islam and be the best Muslim that we can be in different cultural settings and contexts? I think it's very important because as the environment changes around us, we do have to adapt to that to some degree without compromising our Islam. So let's talk about that. You guys, let me introduce my guest. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers. All right, you guys, thank you for being with me on this episode of Let's Talk. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourselves one by one. Tell me a little bit about yourself, what country you come from, and where you are now.
Nazif Abu Bakr by name, Nigerian by country. Okay, I'm in my early 20s now.
Okay, great. Now, what part? I know Nigeria itself is a diverse federation with many different states.
Really, culturally, educationally, religiously.
Yeah, so talk about that. How many states do you have? How many different languages spoken, ethnic groups, religious groups even in your country, Nigeria?
Okay, definitely the total number of languages spoken in Nigeria is estimated to be around 3,000. 300. Sorry.
Yes, 300. That's still a lot. Yeah.
300.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's still a lot. But 300, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. But there are 3 main languages: Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo.
What about Fulani?
Fulani, Hausa, Fulani can be classified.
Okay, but the national language is
English language.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the medium of interaction between people, medium of communication. It is the only language that links the whole country together.
Okay. Now, how many different ethnic groups do you have, and how many different religious groups do you have?
Wow. Specifically, no one can tell you how many tribes are there in Nigeria. But religion, we have some people, Islam, which is the largest religion, followed by Christianity.
Okay.
Yeah, and some animist.
Animist means like native religions?
Yeah,
we can say
like
that?
native, like traditional religion.
Okay.
They're neither Muslim nor Christian.
Okay. I want to ask you this. So when I asked you how many tribes there were, you didn't give me an answer. Why? There's so many?
So many tribes.
Okay, that's my question.
Yeah,
okay,
but
great.
we have 3
main tribes.
Yeah, main tribes.
Hausa,
Fulani, Yoruba, and Igbo.
Okay, great.
3 main languages.
Okay, thank you.
There are a great deal of languages over there.
And after all the brothers introduce themselves, I want to add one more component to this discussion. That is, I want you guys to tell me some cultural practices or obstacles in your native country that are obstacles that prevent you from being a good Muslim, and also mention some wonderful cultural qualities that help you along your way to being a good Muslim, inshallah. But before we go ahead, brother, I want you to answer the same question. We'll go around the circle, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, my brothers. My name is Yasser Al-Ashkar. I'm from Alexandria. I'm 22 years old. I'm doing a Bachelor of Commerce from Alexandria University.
Great.
In the 3rd year right now.
Are you going to take any courses with you next year, or are you passing all your classes?
Of course. No, I'm just passing, but maybe like after I'm done with my Bachelor, I'll go for some courses, because you can't just live right now without any courses. So I was in India, by the way.
Okay, let's talk about that. Go ahead.
I stayed there for 2 years, and I left there from Kuwait when I was 17 years old. So when I went to India, it was whole like a different place, different community, different culture, different place. You know, a variety of various religions. Matter of fact, you got Hindu, Christians, Muslims, and of course the main one is our Muslims and Hindu and Christian.
Okay.
So basically, in New Delhi, in the capital, in the two largest cities in whole India, which is Mumbai, which it was actually Bombay, but they changed the name in America because every time an Indian calls American, it's like a Bombay, so bomb. So there's a bomb. So they changed it to Mumbai. Yeah. So to avoid the machine.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So there are almost like 3,000 languages there.
Dude, that's amazing.
3,000, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's wonderful because you get an Indian. I had an Indian friend, and I was like, hey, what is this guy saying? And he said, I don't know. I said, you kidding me? You're Indian too? It was like, he's from another place. I don't know his language.
That's good. Wow.
Yeah, so, but the main thing is Hindi language. And in the capital, it's like a combination between Hindi and Urdu. Urdu, which is the language of Pakistan.
Right.
It's kind of similar to Persian and Arabic, written in the same letters.
Okay.
So you get a variety of various
okay, great.
everything.
And I want you, after we finish going on the circle, when I come back to you, brother, I want you to mention the unity that you experienced in the main mosque there called Jama
Well,
Islami.
thing is, when I experienced a weird thing in India, it wasn't the same thing in Kuwait when I left Kuwait, because in India there were some places, some parts in India I couldn't even hear azan.
Oh,
you
really?
feel me? So it wasn't comforting. You felt that something is missing.
Subhanallah.
I was like, I wanted to just to hear it. You know,
Yeah, Allah
I wanted
Akbar,
to hear it.
yeah.
So.
Interesting.
And there are other parts in India where you get communities of just Muslims. So you have mosques and you know,
halal
like
meat
all the
and
Islam.
the whole-
Exactly. I had a trouble in India with halal meat, and actually one time I went to buy some cake.
Right.
So I took a bite, and that's when I felt that something is like tasting weird. So I asked the guy, hey, what do you put in, tell me the integrity of this cake. And he was like, okay, this, and then he mentioned alcohol. I was like, what?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I want you to mention when you come back around, the obstacles
that's a
facing
problem.
Muslim.
You know, that's a problem. I didn't even know. So that's when I stopped using, like, buying cakes from there. And
Right.
same thing with the meat. You have to ask before using it. Hey, this is because most communities, you know, you have to eat halal meat. So
Yeah, right, okay.
that was a problem. That was a problem,
Okay.
but you get past over it after some time, after you get used to it.
Yeah, we'll come back around and
Sure.
talk about the challenges in India, inshallah. Brother Idris, I know you're from London. You've been on the program with me before. Thank you for being here. I want you to talk about some challenges facing Muslims in the UK, and also some obstacles and positive aspects that help you along your practice of Islam, and how can you how the society enables you to be a good Muslim, inshallah, if you want it, and how there are some challenges facing Muslims there as well. But before you answer that, I forgot to mention, I want you to speak briefly about the diversity there, a little bit about your country. Give us a cultural background of London in particular.
Yeah, London is a very extremely multicultural city. You have people from all over the world in London, from every continent,
Okay.
and you'll find everyone in London.
Right.
So in terms of understanding each other's culture, I believe that there are very little barriers. I mean, we all understand each other from a religious perspective, but also just from a cultural perspective, in terms of how we behave, how we speak, the foods that we eat,
Right.
what have you. So there's a lot of multiculturalism in London, and it makes it easier for me when I travel to other parts of the world to understand, the mindset or concepts that other religions or other nations have.
Right.
Because I'm used to differences, so I'm used to understanding a person before behaving with him in a certain way.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe in other countries where it's just dominated by one,
Yes.
sometimes they may not understand where I'm coming from, but
Yes.
maybe I understand where they're coming from.
I like that. I prefer the multicultural environment because it builds tolerance and understanding, where
Yeah.
otherwise you feel a little bit narrow-minded.
Yeah.
But let me get back to you on the second question. We'll get that on the second time around. Brother, tell us a little bit about where you're from, and tell us a little bit about the country, the cultural background, the linguistic background, the ethnic groups. Give us a picture of your world that you come from.
Okay. My name is Sulaiman Bari, and I'm from Guinea-Conakry. And I'm a student in Al-Azhar University in Cairo here. And in my country, we have a lot of trip there too. But I don't know exactly how much. But it could be minimum 6 or 5. The one who are
Tribes?
Yeah, tribes.
Oh, major tribes, which are Fulani,
Yeah.
Hausa.
No, we have the Fulani and the Soso and the Maninka and the Manda and Toma
Okay.
and Gersi. But the national language, it's French, you know?
It's actually French.
Yeah, French. Because in the capital, if you're going to communicate with people who's
French.
different with your language, you're going to communicate with them by French.
Okay, lingua franca, as they say. But brother, I want to ask you, what about religious groups?
Mhm.
It's all Muslims, is it mostly Muslims, is it Christians, what is it?
Yeah, there's some ethnic there. Most of them are Christian. Most of them are Muslim. Most of them too, they're just they're in here. They don't know, because some of them, they live the place they live, even if Islam not going to reach their level,
Yeah, I understand. Okay, but we could say Muslims and Christians perhaps dominate the scene there.
Yeah.
You guys, in this episode, go ahead.
But the Muslim is the majority. Most of the people
In-
the Muslim 90%.
Oh, okay,
are Muslims.
great. Oh, great, okay. Mashallah,
Yeah.
just like here in Egypt, or more even. Great. You guys, in this episode, we're talking about how to be a good Muslim and what obstacles and challenges face us on the way, and what is helpful in the various cultural contexts that we come from. So let's take a quick look at this report, you guys, about how to be a good Muslim. Inshallah, I know it's a big topic, but let's talk about it, and we'll be right back after the short break.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name.
Some of these questions now can be already answered because the person who's saying, I want to be religious, but something is stopping me, hopefully they heard about Jannah.
Maybe it's motivation.
This would be a motivation
Maybe
now.
it's bad company. Maybe
Uh-huh.
it's laziness. Maybe it's your addiction to entertainment. Turn the thing off. Erase the games off your phone, for God's sake. Get a life, really. People are so addicted to entertainment now, and then they say, I can't feel anything in prayer. Well, what a surprise. You have to get off of the screen. You just have to get off. It's ironic, we're going to be on a screen, but if you're going to be on a screen, be there for something productive.
You get motivated to play the Xbox and then win the game and beat everybody at it.
Yep.
Right?
And then you turn into a couch potato at the same time. It makes you less of a human. It really does. The only thing you can compare people playing video games, what other creature can sit in the same place for hours and hours and hours and not move? What animal on the earth can do that? Even a snail is slowly trying to move from its position, right?
Subhanallah.
This is a really pathetic state for a person to be in, to sit for 2.5 hours before a movie. And the only time the muscle moves is for popcorn to go into the mouth, right?
Yeah.
What a surprise you're not motivated. This is one thing. Bad company is another. A company that's in itself addicted to entertainment, what's it going to do for you? You have to be around people that are intellectually stimulating, that are doing good things around you. And a big thing also is to not be alone, especially for young people. When you're alone, you are shaitan's lunch. You're done. You're going to end up doing the wrong thing, I guarantee you. You need to be around in a safe environment. If you want to be alone, go to the masjid and be alone. Go to the masjid. Go sit in the library.
Don't be alone.
Don't be alone, especially not in your home. You have an internet connection at home, I don't need to say more. Don't be home.
Cruising for a bruising, is that
That's,
saying?
that's correct.
Yeah.
I didn't know they said that, but yeah.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name.
I certainly hope you enjoyed that report from Brother Eddie from the Dean Show, as well as Brother Nauman Ali Khan. Wonderful, beneficial. I certainly like what he said about the social media, although I always encourage everyone at home to like and support us via our social media platforms. I do believe it's important to unplug sometimes. I was at home last night, and I picked up a book written by a professor, Dr. Donald Cole. It was titled "From My Road to Islam, From Texas to Saudi Arabia and Egypt." And sometimes it feels good to pick up an old hard copy of a book and enjoy it and read it. I know there's a lot of beneficial information online, but I think it's important to step away from that sometime and just kind of unplug and perhaps this can help us on our way to being better Muslims, inshallah. Before the report, I did promise you guys we would speak about obstacles and challenges and things that are beneficial and helpful on our way to being good Muslims in the various cultural contexts that we come from. My participants this afternoon, or this evening rather, we are 5 in the studio, and we come from 5 different countries: Nigeria, Egypt. Also, the Egyptian brother Yasser has stayed in India for some time, a brother from the UK, as well as Guinea-Conakry in West Africa. So it gives us different experiences that we can share with you guys. So let's talk about that. Let's go to my right, Brother Nadif. Talk to me about some cultural practices in your culture, the Hausa culture in Nigeria, perhaps at large, that is somehow an obstacle. It creates problems or challenges on your way to trying to be a good Muslim. And also share one of those, and also if you can share another one on the other side, a Nigerian cultural practice that helps you facilitate your way to being the best Muslim that you can be.
Okay, Islam came to Nigeria thousands of years ago. But as we know, the real practice of Islam, like in the way of, according to the Quran and Sunnah, we have difficulty following these, especially youth. Because now, mashallah, there's kind of renaissance, Islamic renaissance is taking place in Nigeria. But all people, elderly people, they are used to following the old way, the old system of practicing religion, for example, traditional religion.
Right. Brother, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're going to take a short break, but I want to get back to this point because you said there's a renaissance of Islam in Nigeria, which is very interesting. Let's get back to this point. We're going to take a short break. You guys stay tuned for more Let's Talk. We will be right back. Inshallah.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Let's start from where they started. Who are they? The companions of the Prophet ﷺ. When they started learning the religion of Islam, they started with the Aqidah, the belief system, faith. Brothers and sisters in Islam, dear viewers, the Prophet ﷺ spent 13 years in Mecca teaching that generation the belief system, the Aqidah. Aisha radiallahu anha confirms this by saying, the first things which were revealed from the Quran was matters of Aqidah. Who is Allah? Jannah, paradise and hell. Jundub ibn Abdullah al-Bajali, may Allah be pleased with him, said, we learned the belief system, we learned the Iman, we learned the Aqidah, then we learn the Quran. Brothers and sisters in Islam, nowadays, a lot of our cultural practices, a lot of our societal norms are against our belief system. And the reason why we're falling into this, because we did not start from where they started. Join me, Kareem Abu Zaid, twice a week on Huda TV screen with the new edition, Aqidah Matters. See you.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. If you're just tuning in, we're having an interesting discussion regarding how we can be the best Muslim that we can be in light of the cultural context that we do come from. On this set right now, we have 5 different people from 5 different countries. That is Nigeria, Egypt, and India, as well as London and Guinea-Conakry down there in West Africa, as well as the United States. So each culture presents certain obstacles and challenges that perhaps can help us along our way to being the best Muslim that we can be. In other countries, in the same country, at the same time, can also have features of its culture that help us along that road. So let's take a look at, let's get back to Brother Nazif, that you were talking about a renaissance of Islam in your country, as opposed to some of the traditional practices perhaps that weren't that great. So talk about that.
As I was saying, definitely now changing is taking place. More than it was before in Nigeria. People, mashallah, there is a lot of awareness, religious awareness, especially from youth.
Great.
But all the people, because they're sticked to the old system of religion, which is traditional religion. For example, if you started practice religion, you grow a beard, you will face a great challenge from your family. Wow, your father didn't have a beard. Why you?
Oh,
So-
I see. Yeah, I see.
Something like that, yeah. Or when you, they call it, when you go to a specific mosque, they say, no, this is a new type of religious brought to you from Saudi.
Oh,
We have our old mosque,
yes.
which your even great-grandfather
Yes.
used to pray there. So
I
go and
see.
pray there. They will
Okay.
teach you this. Americans are supporting them. They are being funded by America. So definitely,
Okay, so there's some challenges there. I see along
really,
your.
a great challenge. But mashallah, if your parent just dialogue solve everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep dialogue with the people, with your family. Inshallah, they will understand.
Okay, brother. Now I want you. Thank you for sharing. I want you to give me one cultural practice in Nigeria that creates a problem for you, and one practice that that helps you. Like for example, you said having a beard becomes a problem.
Really.
Okay, so give me a cultural practice in Nigeria that's positive, that helps you along your way.
Okay, especially Hausa, for example, shyness. You know, in Nigeria, for example, the prime example that I will give you, smoking is not taken lightly. You will not be given marriage.
Oh, really
If you
great.
smoke,
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah,
MashaAllah.
wallahi.
That's good. I like that so much. So if they find you a smoker in the house or culture, they don't like it.
Definitely, you will bring a shame to the whole family.
Subhanallah.
And subhanallah, it is a great shame. Talk less of alcoholism,
Wow.
which is, wow. The whole environment, maybe they will keep you away from the environment.
Okay, I recently saw on the news they destroyed like 200,000 beer bottles in Kano State or something.
Really,
Like
in Kano State.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
this took place recently.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Okay,
the broke bottles, which exploded from,
outside.
outside.
But so wonderful. I like what you said. So in the same culture, we have positives and negatives. So you have to kind of navigate your way through that. So thank you for
Really.
sharing that about Nigeria, about Kano State, where you come from, brother. I want you to speak about your native country, Egypt, or India, whichever you prefer, and name some things, a culture practice that makes it difficult for you, and a culture practice that makes it easier for you.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, India was like perfect. But the thing is, for a newbie, for a new guy, for the first time to go there, you would have to find as a foreigner, as an Arab, as a Muslim Arab. You're going to a foreign country where you know nothing about, and you're at a young age, you know nothing about, absolutely nothing. So you have to go to these obstacles to learn from.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. That's what happened when the thing happened with me about the alcohol and cake, and I mentioned already that. So they put flavor on some food with wine and just for the flavor. We call it nakha, tam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happened. Similar also to some kind of meats. Most Indians are, especially Hindu Indians, are vegetarian. They don't
Right.
go for meat.
Okay.
Why? Because they think that God created the animals just like He created you. So what gives you the right to
Oh, right.
to eat that? But I mean, it's a blessing that we have Islam, alhamdulillah. So
Yeah.
that's why, I mean, your body does need everything.
Right.
Does
It needs
need
protein.
meat
Yeah.
and veg, everything.
Certainly.
Everything does something to your body, to your mind, or to your soul, or whatever. So anyways, the thing is, the good thing about India,
Yeah.
what
Tell me the
happens-
positive thing, something
That's
that
right.
helps you.
The positive thing about India is that the Muslim community there is united.
Great.
They're just one. You really truly feel that there are just one community. Whenever you need something, you know, a Muslim Indian, an Indian Muslim would do much better for you. You feel that I felt welcomed actually. They all will just welcome me, inviting me to numerous events. marvelous. A guy, a friend, a doctor, a friend, a doctor of mine. A friend, he's a friend, he's not my doctor. His profession is a doctor,
Yeah.
but he's a friend of mine. So he took me once to this building. Matter of fact, when I was young, my father was telling me a story about this one man, like years ago, maybe hundreds of years ago, and he went to a mosque, and he didn't find anyone praying in the mosque. So he went outside, and he found some people working in a building, you know, building the building. It's just,
Right, some workers.
Yeah. So he called them, and he said, "Okay, come on to the mosque, and I'll give you some lectures, and I'll pay you money. I'll pay you just the same amount that you were
Working for.
But all you're gonna do is just sit comfortable and just listen. And at the end of the day, you're gonna walk away." And that's what happened. And he started teaching them about Islam. He started teaching them about Islam, and day and day, on and on, each day it kept going, just like this, until this man passed away. He died. So his students got impressed. They were so touched by this, what happened. So they continued doing what he did by spreading the same thing, you know, trying to make people come for. So this story, my father said it, mentioned it to me when I was young. When I went to India, this friend of mine, the doctor one, the surgeon, he took me to this huge building. It's like a mosque, a big mosque, but each floor got their own nationality. Each floor got their own nationality. Like you find Americans, Europeans, Chinese, Russians, Arabs, Asians, Australians, you know, whatever you can imagine, and you find there like a community for each community, a floor for each. So we were sitting in Ramadan having iftar, and that's when the surgeon, he was sitting right next to me, and he told me, "Hey, do you see that man over there with the beard?" And I looked, and he was like, you know, a righteous man. You could feel that, like he's so, you know, you'd respect him without even knowing him. So I was like, "Yeah, I see him." He said, and then he told me the story and said, "That's his grandson."
Oh, subhanAllah.
So I was just like crying, like a little. So it was amazing, you know, the spirituality in some places.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
That's it.
Yeah, because so basically, on one hand, it's difficult to find halal meat, or you don't know the
That's
ingredients.
right, yeah.
On the other side, you find a Muslim community there, united,
That's right.
and you find beautiful events like this and spirituality.
Matter of fact, they're tight even like much more than most Muslims, because sometimes after prayer, or as they call it, namaz, sometimes we don't even do sunnah. We don't pray this 2 rakats
We
after.
run,
They do like they're much better. Okay, so.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, great point.
Right.
Before I go back to here to my left, brother, I want to take a quick look at this report, which is regarding this topic, how to be a good Muslim, you guys. So check it out. Stay tuned, and we will be right back after this report.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name.
The more you live, the more good deeds you do, the more Allah loves you. In Sunan Ibn Majah, Talha ibn Ubaidillah, you all know him, may Allah be pleased with him. One of the 10 heaven-bound companion of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the most beloved companions to the Prophet ﷺ. He says that I saw in a vision, I slept and I saw in a dream. And before he saw that dream, and he told us about that dream, he is telling us that 2 men from a region up east came and reverted to Islam. They accepted Islam. So they were brothers. One of them was much better than his brother in worship. So he prays a lot of nights, and he fasts a lot of days, and he does a lot of good things, gives in charity. And this particular person, the one who does good deeds, went to battle and was martyred in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So he's a shaheed. So what more do you want? He's a companion, he does a lot of good deeds, and he died as a shaheed. 1 year later, his brother died normally, naturally. So he said, I went to bed one night and I saw in a dream that I and these 2 men were outside of paradise waiting for the gates to open. So the gates of paradise were opened, and they called the one who died a year after his brother, the one who did not do a lot of good deeds, the one who was not martyred. And it was closed. And after a while, the doors were open again, and the other person, the martyr, was admitted. Talha says, I wanted to go in, and the angels told me, it's not your time yet. And I woke up. So I spoke about my dream to everyone around me, and people were shocked and astonished. How is it a person who dies as a martyr, and he did so many good deeds, he was much more enthusiastic than his brother, yet his brother is admitted to paradise before him? There's something wrong. And this dream reached the Prophet ﷺ, and he heard what the people were talking about. So he called them and he said, what are you wondering about? They said, oh Prophet of Allah, he dies a year after this martyr, and he didn't do as many good deeds as he did, yet he is admitted to paradise first. So the Prophet said, ﷺ, how long did he live after him? And they said, 1 year. He said, did he fast Ramadan? They said, yes. How many days did he fast? How many prayers did he offer? How many prostrations did he give? More than the man who was martyred a year ago. By Allah, what's between them is like what's between the heavens and the earth. 1 year of living does the difference between a normal person and a martyr, which indicates that you should value every single minute that you live and consider it as a gift, a blessing, and a favor from Allah. I say what you hear and I seek Allah's forgiveness. So ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive me and you as well. Subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Allah, I'm calling your name. Beautiful words from Sheikh Asim Al-Hakim, our resident Sheikh, the host of Ask Huda, live once a week here on Huda TV, as well as other programs. So don't forget to, if you want to hear more of Sheikh Asim, don't forget to tune into Huda TV weekly and check him out on Ask Huda, as well as other programs. I want to go back to my left brother, Elias. I want you to speak about, either comment on that report if you like, and then speak about the issue that we're speaking about, which is cultural practices in our countries that prohibit or inhibit or create obstacles for us in our way towards Allah, inshallah, practicing Islam. And on the other hand, we want to show a positive side of our culture that has enabled us to get this far and to do more, inshallah.
Inshallah, I'd like to start with my culture and the good aspects.
Okay.
In London, as we said, is very multicultural, so you really see the blessing and the vastness of the Muslim Ummah. So there's Muslims from all over the world in London, most predominantly maybe from the Asian subcontinent, like Pakistan and Bangladesh, maybe in East London. You also have many people from Somalia. You have many Arabs in West London, like from Morocco. And in South London, you have many people who accept Islam. Born and raised in England, maybe as Christians or as atheists or what have you, and they actually accept Islam. In North London, you have many people from the Turkish community. So, like I said, there's a very wide-ranging mix of Muslims,
sounds like it.
mashallah. And this reflects in many of the masajid. Have a good mix of brothers and sisters from different parts of the world, etc. So when you hear ayats such as innamal mu'minuna ikhwa, that all of the believers are brothers, it really feels like you can put it into practice.
Yeah.
You learn about different cultures, different foods, different nationalities, and how they behave, how they interact. So for me personally, that's really positive, because it's a reflection of the ummah at large. And so when there's issues like war in Somalia or war in Chechnya or war in Syria or what have you, then you really feel like the whole Muslim community feels it. It's not just, for example, if something happens in Somalia, then the Somalians feel it, but everyone else is a bit
detached.
They're heedless. No, I think on the other hand, you have everyone, they know about one another and the issues and what have you. So that's a really positive aspect for me, and I find that quite amazing. Even when I became a Muslim, Before Islam, we used to fight a lot of people from Somalia, so Somalians and people, maybe people from Jamaica, and like in our area, they had a lot of big conflicts and stabbings and shootings and what have you. But when I became Muslim, I remember I think the very next day or the same week I had to go to a walima. So I'm sitting down and now I'm seeing all of these Somali people around me. And I'm like, I don't like it. but you know what? It's amazing how Allah turned the heart from me having just blind hatred towards them to actually like people from Somalia becoming the most closest friends to me.
Yeah, amazing. Huh?
So and there's so many examples like this in people before Islam. They used to, like gangsters, they used to try to shoot each other, kill each other, and then after they become Muslims, that hatred just turns into love.
Yeah.
You know, so that for me is like a great positive for me.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, because there's so much diversity, there is sometimes prejudice. Yeah.
And can we get back? Can we take a short break and continue this point?
No.
Okay. You guys, we're going to take a short break. We're having an interesting discussion. I hope you're enjoying it as well, as much as I am. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for the final segment of this edition of Let's Talk.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of this edition of Let's Talk. We're speaking about how to be a good Muslim. Of course, this is a very wide topic which needs a lot of explanation and needs people qualified with knowledge and scholars to speak about this in detail. However, we are approaching this issue from the cultural context and standpoint. As we are on the set today, we have 5 people from 5 different countries. And I believe that our cultural environment has an effect on us. So I took this opportunity to ask each and every participant this evening rather, what are some cultural features in the country that you come from and the culture that you belong to that help you on your way to being the best Muslim you can be? On the other hand, what is another cultural feature that from the country or culture that you come from that creates an obstacle or a challenge for you on your way towards being the best Muslim that you can be? And we heard from Nigeria, from the House of Culture in Kano State. We heard from Egyptian brother Yasser, who lived in India for some time, and he spoke about the interesting diversity and dynamics in that massive country itself and the multi-ethnic culture that it is. And right now we're hearing from brother Elias from London, who spoke about the positive aspects of being in a truly multicultural Muslim community, which really highlights the diversity of Islam. However, before the break, before I interrupted him, he was going to speak about some of the drawbacks or problems that arise from such diversity. So let's talk about it. Brother Elias, please continue.
Yeah, sometimes amongst some of the different nation groups, there is some prejudice. Maybe someone from one country doesn't like people from a particular country, and this really, sometimes it becomes apparent in the masajid. Like you may have a Somali masjid or a Bengali masjid, Pakistani masjid or West African masjid, and that divides into Nigeria and the Ivory Coast. Sometimes it can be a bit of a barrier as well. And for the people who were born and raised in London, the issue of intermarriage isn't a problem. So you may have someone from Turkey that wants to marry someone from Ivory Coast.
Nope.
Those two, it's not a problem. They're okay. But the parents who maybe migrated from another country cause big problems sometimes. So the diversity is a blessing, but at the same time it comes with a lot of issues, subplots that come with it.
And we have to deal with wisdom and maturity. I was in Copenhagen by the grace of Allah with Dr. Muhammad, and our host was very gracious, and he said to us, this mosque features people from Arabic background. This one is Turkish background. This one is South Asian background. And I understand why that happens, cultural and language barriers, but at the same Somali background. But at the same time, you feel like this is becoming some sort of problem. We have multiple communities, not one community, and it's a challenge. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, inshallah, Just like in my country too, like before all of the countries I went, like it's Cairo here, I met like here too I'm free, but I meet here some brothers, like before he come you're gonna see him like he's good, but when he come here you're gonna say maybe start smoking or doing something,
Because the environment, he sees it, so he wants to.
Yeah, to do something because the here is free, like.
But what,
what
about your country though, in Guinea-Conakry?
Guinea-Conakry, there is like because there your parents are there. Even if your parents they didn't see, but if someone see you are doing something, he's gonna tell your parents, or he's gonna say, "Oh, look at this is the son of
so and so,
son and so on, this one." So they're gonna talk. So this one only if you hear you're gonna be shamed,
Yeah.
to do something. But like if you go like far away from your country, like if because there no one's gonna tell you doing this, but if you don't be careful, you're gonna live the way. Okay, like to being a good Muslim, it's like it's between in your body and your heart and your mind, because it's your mind or your heart gonna push you to go do this and this.
Yeah,
okay?
of course, yeah.
You see, so before your mind gonna push you, because human cannot like if you sit only without talking, you are thinking about something. So that's your mind's gonna push you to do something. So like you're gonna just like or to do like prayer or ibadat, dhikr, you see, or keep fasting, or like worship Allah, like wake up in the morning, like into the Fajr, like read the Quran, in the Quran al-Fajr, kana mashhuda. So like to get your Quran order, like to do some many things like good, because like in the morning, to starting in your morning, you have to start like by worship, okay?
Yeah, start your day right.
And then to like knowledge, to reading Sirah of the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay? To know what like his role, what he did, and to be a good Muslim, okay? And to serve people, to help people. Like we have another story like about the Prophet, peace be upon him. Like when like he was helping, one lady was helping him to carry off his things. He was going somewhere, and then but the lady doesn't know it's the Prophet. He just like talking, just telling like the Prophet. There's one guy, he is come from Mecca here. He talking about religion, about like do prayer and this. This guy is not good. The ladies are like swearing the Prophet, but the Prophet doesn't like tell him directly, okay?
Right.
Okay, but she just like keep like talking about something is not good about the Prophet, but she doesn't know it's the Prophet as helping her, okay? And then when they reach the place, or the place like where the lady was
where
going,
they're going, right?
Okay, and then like nothing, the lady doesn't ask the Prophet what's your name, and then the lady asks the Prophet, what's your name? Oh, and then the Prophet say, my name is Muhammad. And then he tell his name, and then say, wow, it's you. So that means it's you, Muhammad.
Yeah.
Prophet sallallahu. Say, mashallah.
Yeah, great point.
Because like to serving people, mashallah, is good.
Yeah.
So and then she, mashallah, she
sees the good manners. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to mention, you had mentioned when you left your country for another country, some people go astray.
Yeah.
But this doesn't just apply to Egypt. No, this applies, or Guinea-Conakry. This applies to anybody who travels outside their country. Like I am in a foreign country, you were in a when you were in India, because nobody's watching you. So in order to be, this is a test to really be a good Muslim, right?
Yeah.
Nobody can see what you're doing. You're in Cairo. Nobody can see you in Kano State. Nobody, when you were in India, could see you in Egypt, right? No one can see you back home what you're doing now, unless they will turn on the TV. But you don't know any point. So I think it's important. This is also part of being a good Muslim. Nobody's watching over you except Allah. So you have to keep it. Go ahead.
Just on that point, there's a famous story. I believe it's attributed to Imam Malik, rahimahullah, in which he was going to school with some other youngsters. And the parents, they started complaining, saying, all of the teachers, they're favouring this boy. No, they're saying this boy is better than all of the other children. Why? And so the teacher said, okay, I'm going to show you why he's better than everyone else. And so the teacher, I think, gave them some sweets or something, or some money, and says, you have to put this in a place where no one can see this. No, hide these where no one can find it. So the children, they all run away, and they all come back. And I believe, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's Imam Malik, but I heard it was attributed to Imam Malik.
Okay.
And so Imam Malik comes back and he still has the sweet. And so the parents, they've been gathered and they're all asking, you know, okay, what's the outcome? Why have you brought back all of the sweets? And he says, I realised that no matter where I put it, Allah's watching me.
SubhanAllah, yeah.
And so all of the parents said, okay, this is why we understand now. So it's an important point that no matter where we are throughout the world, if we just remember that Allah's watching us, then it shouldn't matter where we put, no matter what culture we're in, no matter what setting we're in, inshallah, we should always be try our best to be Muslims.
Yeah, thank you, brother. And I don't really need to share my experience because Brother Ilyas basically said it for me because we come from similar backgrounds, so I don't need to repeat it. Go ahead.
I believe that any Muslim who would leave, who would go to anywhere, he should represent his community. He should represent the Ummah of Islam, because whatever you do, you're a reflection of the rest of you. So whatever you do, you have to, be careful. Like represent your Ummah right. Be cautious. Like smile. Greet people. Say Assalamu alaikum. Make a like good behavior. Set an example for others. Make them like so eager to find out, hey, why are you doing this?
Be the reason why they become Muslim,
right.
Not why they don't like Muslims.
Encourage them. So this is a very, people should
and this could be accomplished very easily just with some good manners. It's a great opportunity. I wanted to mention that we only have a couple minutes left. If we can just go back really quickly on one time. Sure. I feel like sometimes as a Muslim, if you put your religious beliefs, if you give them a higher value than the culture beliefs, whatever culture you come from, even if it's in a Muslim country, then it makes you loved by some and hated by others, or liked and disliked a little bit. I feel this. Do you feel the same way?
Really?
Well, tell me why. Okay,
definitely. Wherever you go, you have to put Allah as the observer. Don't care about what other people say, whether for or against you. So, normally, when we're in a community, for example, in an Islamic community, we have a tendency of practicing Islam. But when we're out, it's a nature of a man,
Right.
When you're out, definitely, when you're out, some people are ashamed to. Everybody feels this at some point. Me too, I feel this definitely. But you have to know that Allah is watching you and you're doing it not for the sake of showing off.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just put Allah at the center of your eye. Don't care what other people say.
Yeah, that's
at the
also
end, you will emerge victorious.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also get good company, because you're alone. In a country you don't know no one in. So you have to make friends, company of your own mindset. Like get someone who's just like you, so you won't get dragged to what's wrong, to shaitan. That's like one man. A young man. He went to a wise man in China to learn to test his wisdom. So he asked about him, and he was in a high mountain. So when he reached the top of the mountain where the wise man lives, he knocked the door, and no one answered for almost 1 hour. After 1 hour, a woman came out, and she was like, he's not here, and he'll be back very soon, just wait for him. And he waited for another 2 hours. So after 3 hours, the wise man finally came, the old wise man finally came. So he was like, he found out that the young man was so troubled and angry, like, why, he didn't say anything, but, you could understand of his, like, so what happened is, he said, the wise man said to the young man, would you like some tea? So the young man was so surprised. I'm really pissed, and he's asking me, do I want some tea? Isn't he thinking straight? What's wrong with him? So what happened is, he said, would you like some tea? And he asked him for the second time, and then for the third time. And then he said, yes, the young man. So the wise man brought a cup of tea, and then he was
pouring.
And then it flowed.
Yeah.
So it came out of the cup. So what happened is the young man was like, hey, stop, what are you doing? And then he kept going. Okay, we've seen it in a couple of places, but it was a different story. So this is the original one. Actually, they stole it from this one.
What happened?
Yeah, so what happened is that, so the wise man explained when you came here, you thought that you're all cool and all great and all smart, and that you're so arrogant about everything, that you know everything, that you're a wise man when you're still young and you don't know nothing.
Right.
So your emotions are just like the cup. When it's full, you cannot have any more. So you have to empty them first,
Right.
so you can get the new one. So you should represent, don't let your emotions affect the way you deal with people.
Right, right.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a part of being
on,
a good Muslim, having good manners.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, you guys, thank you for your time. I certainly appreciate it. I hope this episode was beneficial for the viewers. You guys at home, thank you for watching Let's Talk. As I said, don't forget to support Huda TV, and don't forget to shoot me an email at talk@huda.tv. I hope this episode was interesting and beneficial for everyone, all the viewers at home. Until next time, inshallah, I leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, Allah. I'm calling your name, Allah. I call you, I need you, Allahu Akbar, Allah. Your mercy is great.